Your stickered water bottles, they're not enough to keep you hydrated. My name is Mason Wright, also known as the Buff Runner, and I'm a performance dietitian who recently ran 421 miles across the state of Utah. Today, we're going to talk about running hydration. The reason you need to be properly hydrated when you're running is because when you exercise, you sweat. And when you sweat, you're losing water, you're losing electrolytes, you're losing things that you need in order to properly push your body and utilize your muscles. On average, we lose about 1,200 milligrams, not milligrams. On average, we lose about 1,200 milliliters of water when we sweat. In that water, you have a mix of water and electrolytes when we're sweating. This is why your sweat can be salty sometimes. And so we have to replace that water in exercise so that we can continue to have thermoregulation and cool off and allow the sweat to do what it's meant to do. Paired with this, when you're losing this water, that water has to come from somewhere. And a lot of the times that water is coming from our blood. When our blood volume decreases, this is going to cause our heart rate to increase. And when our heart rate increases, it's going to make you more tired. You're going to feel more fatigued. And in turn, it's going to be harder to utilize your muscles. And then when you're losing all of that and your heart rate continues to increase, you're losing your electrolytes, it's going to increase muscle cramps, increased heart rate, and it's just going to make it harder to exercise. Another take. So the reason that your heart rate increases when you're dehydrated is because your blood volume decreases. Your blood volume indicates how thin or thick your blood is. When it decreases, it means your blood is getting thicker. This means that your blood vessels are actually going to vasoconstrict, which is where your blood vessels actually start to close. And then your heart has to pump significantly harder in order to get the blood flow to your muscles and to all of your vital organs that you need to survive. We talked about sweat. We talked about what we lose when we sweat. And one of those things is electrolytes. You can't just drink water to stay hydrated. You have to drink electrolytes. Electrolytes come in a few forms. You have sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium are your four most common. These are the ones that you need, that you're mainly losing through sweat, that you need for proper muscle function. Your muscles aren't just contracting on their own. They're run by nerves. Your nerves have impulses that are sending signals throughout the body, letting your muscles know what they need to do. Let's say you're out running. Your mind is telling your legs to move in a certain way so that you can continue to propel yourself forward. These nerve impulses require electrolytes. You have sodium, potassium, and calcium ion channels that allow for this flow of these electrolytes. That flow is how you continue to send a nerve impulse all the way through to wherever it's going. If you're low in, let's say, sodium, those channels don't work properly. And now you're going to have an imbalance of positive and negative ions, and those nerves aren't going to flow properly. This is going to lead to muscle cramps. It can lead to loss of focus, and it can lead to irregular heartbeats, which is then in turn going to make it harder to exercise. When I ran across the state of Utah, I was lucky enough that I didn't run into too many problems with my hydration. One of the reasons why is I had my crew helping me, and B is I had this stuff dialed in going into the run. One of the important things to have dialed is your electrolyte to water ratio. When I was out there, I was following a rule of about 400 milligrams of sodium to 24 ounces of water. Now, if you're using an electrolyte powder, you're going to get the amount of potassium, calcium, and magnesium that you need from these powders. The sodium is the rule of thumb to base off of, because it just makes it a little bit easier to do the math and figure out exactly what you need. Now, I followed this rule of 400 milligrams of sodium to 24 ounces of water, and this helped me prevent cramps while I was out there. Not once during the entire 421-mile journey across the state of Utah did I have cramps or did I have any issues with any type of hydration, because I was continually giving myself what my body needed and having those ratios set where they needed to be. I have had races in the past where I ran 24 hours around a track and we had a big weather shift. Temperature can be a big indicator of how much sodium and water that you're going to need during a run. The run itself started at 80 degrees. It was 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and I needed more sodium. So I actually increased that ratio to about 600 to 700 milligrams of sodium per 24 ounces of water. But because we live in Utah, at the blink of an eye, that flipped on me to about 50 degrees in just an hour, hour and a half. This led me to actually going hypernatremic. Hypernatremia is something that can happen when you have too many electrolytes. And on the flip side, if you don't consume electrolytes and you only consume water, you can actually develop hyponatremia. Neither one of these are something that we want. Hyponatremia can cause muscle cramps, bloating, and can also cause you to feel really dizzy when you're running. I'm sure you've maybe felt this after, let's say, a marathon. When you cross that finish line, it feels like your head is spinning. A lot of the times that can be due to lack of electrolytes. On the flip side, with hypernatremia, this can cause muscle twitching, it can cause an irregular heart rate, and it can cause you to maybe have to use the porta potty one too many times. Both of these are going to impact your performance. So if you follow the rule of 400 milligrams of sodium to 24 ounces of water, most of the time that's going to get you where you need to be. Again, temperature, if it gets hotter, push it to maybe 600 to 700 milligrams. But for most temperatures, 400 milligrams to 24 ounces of water is exactly what you'll need. So what electrolytes should you get? Well, as a dietitian, if you were working with me as one of my clients, we would look at your budget, we would look at potential allergies, we'd look at things that you like as far as taste goes, and then your preferences. Me personally, I prefer Jocko Fuel. The reason why I like to use Jocko Fuel is because it has a very good ratio of sodium to potassium to magnesium, and it labels how much chloride, which is something we didn't talk about today, but chloride is another electrolyte that kind of comes along with everything else. And they actually label how much chloride is in their product, which is something that's important to know that you're getting a high quality product. So I prefer Jocko Fuel, and it's what I use when I'm out running. So how much water should you drink? We're going to break it down into 3 categories: before your run, during your run, and after your run. Before your run, you should drink about 16 to 24 ounces of water within 2 hours of your run. Now, what if you run at 5 a.m.? You're not going to wake up at 3 a.m. just to drink 16 to 24 ounces of water. So if you drink about 8 to 10 ounces of water within an hour of your run, you'll be good to go there. Now, during your run, this is where you get to have a little bit of fun with it. What you're going to do is before your run, stand on the scale. See how much you weigh. Bring the amount of water that you would normally bring, and then after your run, you're going to stand back on the scale. Depending on how much weight you lost will depend on how many more ounces of water you needed during your run. This run should be about 45 minutes to an hour, so you can appropriately see how much water you actually need, and that's going to tell you how much water you need per hour. So let's say you lost 1 pound over your run. That means you need 16 extra ounces of water. After your run, you're going to drink anywhere from 16 to 32 ounces of water, depending on how hot it was outside. If it's more hot, drink closer to 32. Let's say it's the winter, you can drink 16. There are ways that you can calculate it, but honestly, let's just keep it simple and just do 16 to 32 ounces of water and you'll be good to go after your run. If you remember anything from today, I want you to remember just one thing. Your sticker water bottle is not just going to cut it, because you need more than just water. You also need electrolytes. So make sure when you're out there running, you have your electrolytes, you have your water, and you have the right ratios so that you can stay hydrated and keep running. I'm the Buff Runner. Lift heavy, run far, and if you like this video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay healthy.